The fragile ceasefire between Iran and the US has been extended even after Donald Trump had said that it will be unlikely that he'll extend, but that's what happened now.
But there is a war of blockades over the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has vowed not to reopen the waterway as long as the US naval blockade remained in place, announcing seizure of 2 ships trying to cross the strait.
Well, Iranian state TV shared a video purportedly showing armed soldiers boarding the 2 container ships. According to Iran's Revolutionary Guards, one of the seized ships, the Liberian-flagged container vessel named Ipame Nondas, was en route to India. The second ship, the Panama-flagged container MSC Francesca, was headed to Sri Lanka.
According to Iranian media, a third vessel identified as the Greek-owned Euphoria was also targeted by Iran officials, and it is now stranded near Iran's coast.
Now, the IRGC says that the ships endangered maritime security by operating without the necessary permits and tampering with navigation systems. The seizures mark the first time that Iran has taken control of ships since the beginning of this war.
Well, it comes after the US fired on and seized an Iranian cargo vessel and boarded an Iranian oil tanker in the Indian Ocean. The White House said that US President Donald Trump does not consider seizure of these ships to be a ceasefire violation because the vessels are not American or Israeli. It also said that Trump has not set a deadline for Iran to submit a peace proposal.
I know there's been some anonymous sourced reporting that there was maybe a 3 to 5 day deadline. That is not true. The president has not set a deadline himself. Ultimately, he will dictate the timetable.
Well, the White House said President Trump wants to see a unified response from Iran's leadership to an American proposal to end hostilities, adding that Trump was satisfied with the ongoing US naval blockade.
It's a battle between the pragmatists and the hardliners in Iran right now, and the president wants a unified response. And so as we await that response, there's a ceasefire with the military and kinetic strikes, but Operation Economic Fury continues, and the effective and successful naval blockade continues as well.
According to U.S. Central Command, U.S. forces had directed 31 vessels to turn around or return to port since the start of its blockade against ships entering or exiting Iranian ports.
Earlier, Trump used social media to announce an indefinite extension of the 2-week ceasefire with Iran. And despite what appeared to be a unilateral ceasefire extension, U.S. maintained a naval blockade of Iranian ports, a move Tehran officials call is no different from bombardment.
Now, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said that the U.S. breach of commitments and its blockade of Iranian ports and threats are the main obstacles to genuine negotiations.
Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, Speaker of the Iranian Parliament and lead negotiator from the Iranian side, said that a complete ceasefire only makes sense if it is not violated by the maritime blockade, the hostage-taking of the world's economy, and Israel's warmongering.
In a show of defiance, Iran showcased some of its ballistic weapons at a parade in Tehran. Images displayed a large banner in the background with a fist choking off the strait.
And there's more on this from our colleague Susan, who sends us this report from New York.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says that President Trump does not view Iran's seizure of 2 international container ships as a ceasefire violation because the vessels were neither American nor Israeli. She also clarified that President Trump has not set a firm deadline for Iran to submit a new peace proposal, saying that the timeline will be determined by the commander-in-chief. At the same time, new scrutiny is now growing over Iran's remaining military strength. Defense Intelligence Agency Director Lieutenant General James Adams told Congress that despite major degradation from coalition strikes during Operation Epic Fury, Tehran still retains thousands of missiles and one-way attack drones as well, capable of threatening U.S. and partner forces across the region. So this creates a clear contradiction. Publicly, on the one hand, the administration is projecting controlled diplomacy, But intelligence officials are warning that Iran still has significant strike capability. So the ceasefire may be holding politically, but militarily the threat is far from over. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.